Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. I'm Chief Sweet and today we're going to be talking about impaction and loose substrate. Is loose substrate safe for your reptile? Let's get into this, shall we? So if you got a reptile like a bearded dragon, leopard gecko, whatever it is, and you got some sand like Repti sand from PetSmart or somewhere else and you put it in your enclosure and then you post it on Facebook and then everybody's like, what are you doing? It's going to kill your lizard. That's not safe. Don't put them on sand. And then you look up, what do bearded dragons live on? And then you find out they live on sand. So how is it gonna kill the bearded dragon in captivity, but not kill the wild bearded dragon? And the answer is very simple. It's because in captivity, we are not taking care of bearded dragons and other reptiles properly. So play sand, all kinds of loose substrate, everything is totally fine for your bearded dragon. What's happening is people are having bad husbandry issues and it's relating to that, and that's what it seems like. If you took all the loose substrate out, your bearded dragon is still gonna have those issues, but he's not gonna be able to eat the ground. Why do they eat the ground? Like a lot of people, if you may experience this too, you might have put your bearded dragon inside of an enclosure and then you put dirt in there, and as soon as he goes in there, he starts eating the ground. Well, what he's doing is, this happens a lot with other animals as well, but what happens is they have a vitamin deficiency, incredibly hardcore vitamin deficiency, where it's so much that they're just gonna eat weird stuff. Like pregnant women, humans, pregnant women, a lot of times will get, because they're growing a baby, they'll have a vitamin deficiency that's so bad, they'll eat weird, they get the cravings of weird stuff, very weird stuff. And it's because they have hardcore vitamin deficiencies that is just appearing in that way. And the same thing happens to a bearded dragon. And I've helped tons of people over the years, and I will tell you right now, the number one problem that people are having that relates to impaction or something like that is dehydration and lack of proper UVB. The amount of people I see that do not have good UVB is probably 99% of the cases. Anybody who comes to me and asks for help, I guarantee 99% of the time, they're gonna have inadequate UVB. And UVB is essential to bearded dragons. We've known this. Tons of data and research has been done about this. Bearded dragons need quality UVB. I have tons of videos about that. But what happens when a bearded dragon does not get good UVB? They get huge vitamin deficiencies. They can't produce D3 that allows them to absorb calcium. They get, from not absorbing calcium, they then get metabolic bone disease, and that's what will make them eat stuff. They might be dehydrated and they're just looking for anything. There's a piece of ground that might have seemed a little wet. They start eating that. They're super dehydrated anyways. That dried them out even more. Their kidneys go out because of the dehydration and they die. Or they're already super dehydrated. They might have got some sand in their mouth. There's no hydration in their digestional tract to move that along. It stays there. More gets in there and they get impacted because they're dehydrated and they have lack of vitamin D and UVB as because of that. There's just tons of issues that are related to husbandry that cause this. It's not the sand. If you remove the sand, guess what? Your bearded dragon's still gonna lack all those vitamins and he's gonna be unhealthy. He may have metabolic bone disease. Those issues are still there, but he's not gonna be able to eat the sand that causes the impaction, or he dies, or he may just die anyways. But bearded dragons and many other animals live outdoors on sand, on loose substrate, and never have any issues. And if they do, it's always related to dehydration or something like that. It's never related to just being in captivity. There's nothing that makes them different. A lot of people say, well, that's a wild animal. It's different from a captive. No, there's nothing different. That is the same exact animal with the same genetic makeup. And you can prove this. There's people who have pet bearded dragons, they accidentally get loose and they just live around the neighborhood for like 3 weeks, and some people find them hanging out in a tree and they're perfectly fine. They're even fatter. They've been just feasting on things around the neighborhood. And the same thing in Florida. Tons of animals that were pets were released or escaped, and now they have taken over Florida. These are still wild animals. These are not domesticated animals. They are the exact same animal. Only thing that is different is that we are providing extremely bad husbandry, and that's why we're seeing this stuff. And we think it's the sand that's killing them, and really it's us that's killing them. So if you're wondering what proper UVB is, all that stuff, I have tons of guides on that, but I'm just telling you right now, sand, loose substrate, all that stuff is not gonna harm your bearded dragon. You need to have proper husbandry. If you have proper husbandry, you're not gonna have any problems. How do I know this? I've been keeping bearded dragons for almost 20 years. That's right, I've been keeping them since I was a kid, and I kept them on sand, straight sand. Never had an issue. Why? Because I always had UVB, always kept them hydrated, and if you don't have UVB, you can take them outside, directly in the sun, get the best best UVB in the entire world. There's nothing better than natural sunlight. And all you need is 2 hours a day in natural sunlight and they'll totally be fine. That's all they need for an entire day's worth. But don't let people in these Facebook groups, don't let people online try to scare you into thinking that sand is bad. It is not. What causes this is bad husbandry, and we need to correct it because I've seen it happen so much and time again. And it's not really your fault if you come here. It's not people's fault. A lot of times when people go into like a PetSmart, what's marketed towards new keepers and tons of people are just bad products. Like coil UVB. When someone gets a starter kit, the one UVB that comes in with the starter kit is a coil UVB bulb. Those are horrible. They don't produce they don't produce almost anything what a bearded dragon needs. Like a bearded dragon needs UVI, which is what UVB gives off. They need a UVI index of like 3.0 to 7.4. Those coil UVB bulbs will produce like 0.6. Like they're giving your bearded dragon nothing, not what he needs, and then that will cause deficiencies. That will cause him to get sick, get metabolic bone disease. He'll start to do weird things like eat substrate and then get impaction, and that's where it all comes from. And I'm not just pulling all this info out my butt either. This has been, vets have figured this out, researchers have figured this out. This has been studied because bearded dragon's been in the hobby for a very long time. And so this happened way back in the day, and they was like, why is this happening? And they were like, it's the substrate. And then they was doing research about it, and they was like, wait a minute, all these bearded dragons have metabolic bone disease. They're not getting enough UVB. They're dehydrated. And when we fixed that, we put stuff back in there, totally fine, and we realized, oh man, it's just the fact that we keep them horribly. But again, it's not really most keepers' fault. A lot of people are just marketed bad info, and that comes from the pet stores when they give you the coil UVBs. And there's not a lot of good UVB options out there, honestly. And a lot of times people don't know how to properly hydrate their bearded dragon. You need to properly hydrate your bearded dragon with good greens and insects, properly gut-loaded insects. The insects have to be hydrated, and that's another thing. These pet stores will market dried insects, dried food, and that's just going to dehydrate your bearded dragon. In the wild, bearded dragons get most of the moisture from the greens and the insects, and they don't drink water that often. So you're taking an animal that's used to not drinking water, and then you give them stuff that's just going to continuously dehydrate him in a box with not good UVB. He's going to have all these deficiencies, and it's just going to equal bad stuff. So sand is safe. Straight play sand, repti sand, that's all safe. I like to use a little bit of a mix because it just looks cooler, looks better. But if you want to use straight play sand, straight repti sand, that's totally fine. That's not going to harm your bearded dragon. It's all safe. Don't worry. It's not going to kill your dragon. It's not going to cause impaction. And if it does, you know that it's the husbandry that you provided that needs to change to fix that issue. So that's all I have for you in this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I answered your question. If I did, like and subscribe. I will see you next time.